Yo, 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 we're back again. Welcome to episode number 59 of the Rulong Talks podcast. My name is Jason. I'm the host of the show, as you know by now. And I'm joined as always by the wrestling kid, Rich Kid. Rich Kid, say what's up?
What's up, people? What's up?
Cool, man. And we're here and we're excited and we want to talk to you all about the Captain Marvel trailer. I really enjoyed this trailer. The first teaser trailer I enjoyed, but I could understand why people were a bit frustrated with that trailer because it was very abstract. But I feel like this one has given us a lot more detail in terms of the kind of story that we're going to get from this adaptation. So yeah, man, let's dive into it. But I mean, first of all, Rich, we should probably try and give people a little bit of comic book background in terms of Captain Marvel and who Captain Marvel is. I know we've spoken about this before, but for the benefit of people who are new to listening to us, what is kind of the history of Captain Marvel in a nutshell?
Well, basically, are we talking about the moniker of Captain Marvel? We're talking about the
Yeah,
politics behind Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I guess if you kind of start off with the title of Captain Marvel, because obviously as you've hinted at there, it's more a title than a specific name. So you know, if you explain a little bit about the where that name comes from, certainly from a comic book point of view, then we can give the listeners a bit of an idea of who Carol Danvers is and so on. So yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, but the actual title of Captain Marvel actually belonged to somebody before Carol Danvers, and was actually the ex-lover of Carol Danvers, and basically one of the reasons as to how she actually got her powers and got her Kree infused powers. So the name of Marvel is actually the name of somebody who was a captain, and funnily enough, when that person came to Earth, they came as part. Marvel came to Earth as part of a strike force to basically take over Earth, and he realized that that humans were inherently good, and so he turned on his own people and decided to defend the planet Earth. And what it was is that the people heard other Kree fighters that he was battling against, calling him Marvel, and they, as because humans are not that very smart, we took it that they were, that they were the dumb ones that were meant to be calling him Marvel. So they basically started calling him Captain Marvel. So in essence, it actually is a rank and a name. And then basically Captain Marvel ending up passing away from cancer in Marvel Comics' first graphic novel. I think it was like 1980 or 1982, maybe. And then you had the character of Carol Danvers, who had gone by the name of Binary and Miss Marvel, and then later on was given the title of Captain Marvel, which as was suggested to her by Captain America during an issue of the Avengers, which was quite a few years ago now. But basically, she was the. I mean, this is take into account this is the 70s, so she was the female equivalent of a character that was already there, which was Captain Marvel. So, for example, you had your Batman, and you had your Batgirl, you had your Superman, and you had your Supergirl and Superwoman. And so Captain or Miss Marvel, as she was originally known, was just a female equivalent to the original Captain Marvel. And it's only in the past few years, I'd probably say the last 10 years, would you say, Jay?
Yeah, probably 10 years.
Yeah, probably 10 years where we've seen the character treated in quite a progressive way, as like she's just not a female counterpart to someone that already exists and and isn't as strong as like her male counterpart, and she's been fleshed out and rounded out pretty well, I think, and she's easily one of the most popular characters in Marvel Comics as it stands. I mean, for myself, definitely, and Jay, I know you're a big fan of hers as well. But in essence, that's a bit of a brief rundown of the history. I don't want to say too much because there's quite a few different stories that have been told. But I mean, basically, the inherent essence of the origin of the character, that's basically what it stands to be. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rich. Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say that the background behind Captain Marvel, the moniker is convoluted, as is usually the case with comic book characters, listeners, especially when you're talking about something that originally dates back to, you know, the 1970s. There's various different writers, comic book writers, who've taken different directions with the character. Oh, pardon me. Sorry, I hope I didn't burp on the microphone there. That was disgusting. I'm going to blame my fizzy water that I'm drinking. But yeah, it seems like, you know, they certainly with the movie trailer that we've just seen, that they're trying to go more in the direction of the character that perhaps people are a bit more familiar with, which is the version of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, that we've seen in recent years, as Richard said, in sort of the last decade. In particular, apparently Kevin Feige says that this is based on or inspired by Kelly Sue DeConnick and her run on Captain Marvel, which I'm a big fan of, which is called Stronger, Higher, Faster, More, I think, or something like that is the name of the actual arc, which they've kind of worked into the trailer, which we'll get to as well. But it seems like it's going to be taken from that elements of the character will be taken from that kind of arc. But they've also, with the trailer, I think we both noticed straight away that they've kind of played around a bit with the origin story and things like that as well. So diving into the trailer itself, Rich, it seemed from quite early on that the idea is that you know, Carol Danvers is an Air Force pilot, which is kind of true to her comic book origins, and certainly in the more modern runs and modern takes on the character, there's a lot of emphasis on her background within the military and within the United States Air Force. And it seems that there is some kind of an accident, maybe, or something happens anyway, and she comes into contact with these alien races, the first of which being the Kree. And it seemed to me that their intention is to kind of show that because of her encounter with the Kree and the fact that she has this blood transfusion, which you see in the trailer, which was kind of crazy, she is now loyal to the Kree as an alien race, and is going to be working for them. And you mentioned before, Rich, in the history about the Strike Force. What exactly is the Strike Force that you're talking about there? Is that kind of like an alien hit squad, or what?
Well, basically, they're just the Kree's finest. So, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say that they're the Avengers, because the Kree version of the Avengers, just for the simple fact that the Avengers were characters that were put together by unforeseen circumstances, and they just happened to become a good team. Whereas, like, I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in this film, and like you said, that they're going to be taken from the comic books, is that drawing upon Carol Danvers' background in the Air Force. So she's a soldier first and foremost, and basically the Star Force or the Strike Force is basically, that's what they are. They are the Kree's finest. So you've got your heavy hitters in there. You've got your snipers. You've got your muscle. You've got your captain. You've got your brains, and basically Captain Marvel's got is going to be part of that Strike Force.
Yeah, that's definitely the impression that I got from it as well. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they work her in. I mean, again, going by the trailer, it looks like she is maybe rescued by Jude Law's character, and we'll get to Jude Law in a minute because I know you got a lot to say about that. But it seems like she's rescued by Jude Law's character and is taken to the Kree homeworld. And the Kree, I mean, we should probably say who the Kree are as well at this point, just in case people are a bit confused. But basically, essentially, they're like a warrior alien race. Is that right, Rich?
Yeah, that's correct. So basically, they're one of the, well, I mean, not so much in the comics now, but in the MCU, they're easily one of the, if not the most like prominent alien races in the cosmic universe. And we've glanced them briefly in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, obviously we had what was his name? We had Ronan the Accuser, played by Lee Pace, and then we had who else? Korath,
Yes, we had
played
Korath as well.
by
Yeah. Jimon Hinsu.
Jimon Hunsu. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jimon Hunsu. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, they're one of the major races. So you've got like the Xandarians, which is obviously Xandar, the Nova Corps. Then you've got the Kree, and then you've got the Skrulls. So those are the three basically. Depends because now that Disney have acquired the rights from Fox, there might be a fourth, alien race coming into plan at some point later on down the line. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, but the Kree, they're just like a very military scientific based race that just believe in law and order, and they actually don't have or use any emotions. And people, or members of the race that do use emotions are seen as like lesser beings, which is, I mean, which is a bit of a throwback to the Vulcans from Star Trek. And then whereas like their main opponents are the Skrulls, and the Skrulls are very much like the Klingons from Star Trek as well, which is something which I always found fascinating and a bit a bit funny, just because I'm a geek like that. But yeah, but the Kree homeworld, they're literally just about expanding their influence and their empire throughout the universe. So yeah, they're not very nice people, to say the least.
So from what we see in the trailer, certainly in the early parts there, as said, you get this introduction to the Kree and to the Skrulls. The Skrulls we heard about before. They were mentioned by Kevin Feige when he was first talking about Captain Marvel at Comic-Con a few years ago, and a few people were kind of like, who the hell are the Skrulls, and what does that mean? And then there was those of us, the comic book fans, who are going, oh my God, they're doing Skrulls, like, who's a Skrull, who's a Skrull? So for the benefit of those who are not quite up to speed with what's going on, briefly, who are the Skrulls, Rich? I mean, because it's a name that people are going to hear a lot of going forward. I think. Well, we both think that they're going to play a major part in the MCU, and we'll get to that as well. But yeah, just briefly, I mean, who exactly are they, or what are they?
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you remember correctly, Kevin Feige mentioned the Skrulls, when leading up to Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel, so I keep on calling her the other name. But do you remember when we thought that, well, the rumor was that the Skrulls were going to be the main villain in Avengers Assemble? Yeah, but remember, it was at that point that Marvel hadn't acquired the rights to use the Skrulls because I think it belonged to Fox at that point. Is that what it was? Or yeah, was it Fox or Sony? Fox. Yeah. So this wouldn't be the first time that they've been mentioned. It's just that this is the first time that they've been mentioned and they're going to be used, which is like bloody amazing. But yeah, the Skrulls are. It's weird. The Skrulls are the complete opposite to the Kree, and once again, it boils down to the amazing writing of the late great Stan Lee, who just passed away a couple of weeks ago. Whereas like you had the Kree, who looked basically human. I mean, the only difference that you had in the Kree race is that you had blue-skinned Krees and you had pink-skinned Krees. And the funny thing is that the pink-skinned Krees were deemed inferior to the blue-skinned. And then you've got the Skrulls, who are a very religious and peaceful race, but they look almost to say like demons. So they've got they've got green skin, and they've got quite pronounced features, so like pointy ears and quite pronounced chins with like deep lines in them. They almost, the best way to describe it is that they look like a green version of Thanos. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they're basically the complete opposite to what the Kree are in every which way that you can think of, whether it be how they approach things or whether to how they look as well. And they're just a race or a civilization of people that just believe in spreading the good word of harmony throughout the universe. And the thing is, I actually don't want to say too much, because from what I can gather from the trailer, this might draw on a few elements of the Kree-Skrull War that happened in Marvel Comics back in the 70s. And it gives a bit of background as to the way how the the war actually started. But there's a really big twist as to how it happens, and I think this might be one of the deciding factors as to how and why Carol Danvers actually switches sides and maybe decides to to defend the Earth. Obviously, because she comes from the Earth as well, but like I said, I don't want to give away too much. But basically, the Skrulls are a race of people that are religious and believe in harmony, and they have one special power, which we haven't as of yet seen in the MCU, is that they're shapeshifters. So they can basically change into anything they want, which is one of the things that we see in the trailer with the old woman that has a battle with Captain Marvel on the train. So yeah.
Cool, thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, as you picked out that scene, let's go to that, because I love that scene, man. That scene was just great. I love it when trailers kind of play around with your expectations a little bit, and I mean, we kind of got a slight glimpse of that scene in the teaser trailer when that came out, but getting to see the full scene was pretty damn cool. And yeah, I mean, like, I think like everybody on the internet, like, we were all a bit taken aback when you see this granny doing flips on a tube train and stuff, and then and then Captain Marvel rams her head into a pole, and you're like, "Ow, okay." Like, so she's not playing out here. But yeah, I mean, I really do like the trailer as a whole. I like the fact that we're kind of getting a different time period. It's been confirmed already that the movie's set in 1995, which is why in the teaser trailer we got the blockbuster video crash scene and things like that. So I like that we're kind of moving through the ages, so to speak. And like everybody else, I'm kind of curious as to how that factors into the story. I mean, we can probably theorize some things ourselves, but obviously we don't want to spoil too much for potentially what may be coming for the movie, given that there are certain elements, again, from comic book stories that we're familiar with that do seem to be kind of tying into this movie plot. But yeah, I am really interested in seeing kind of how that factors into everything, really. Visually, I really enjoyed the look of the movie as well. It needed to feel cosmic to me, and it does. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, you probably know much more about the cosmic side of the Marvel universe than I do. Did it feel kind of suitably space operatic? I guess I can't figure the right way to put it, but did it feel like kind of grand and epic in terms of the inclusions of space and the different worlds that we do manage to get a glimpse at the trailer?
It felt awesome, and I think it's something that's been missed since since the last volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, we do kind of get a glimpse into, or kind of like touch upon the cosmic side of the Marvel universe or the MCU again in Infinity War, but it's nice to go back to this. It just felt really, really nice, and they've really managed to capture the scope and scale of number one, of how space is, and number two, the type of powers or the type of power scales that we're going to be seeing used in this film as well, because that's something that we still haven't touched upon if you think about it. Like she's going to be bringing to the MCU like a different set of power skills that we haven't seen by anybody. We've seen gods with hammers that throw lightning. We've seen cybernetic suits. We've seen some forms of like quantum magic, which is a form of science, but we haven't seen out and out just pure, just, I'm not even sure what to even call it, because I mean, just let's call it what it is. Let's say power cosmic, or just beams of energy being released from somebody's hands, or when they're flying off, and you can see like energy just propelling them forward. We haven't seen that yet, so it's a really, really nice tease as to what I think we're going to be getting from this. I mean, how that's gonna factor into how it's going to be portrayed when she's on Earth is, I mean, that's going to be really, really interesting. That's going to be the deciding factor for me, to be honest, because she's a character that's inherently powerful, but she's going to be on an Earth where, if she really probably cause some pretty hefty damage. Because I'd probably put Captain Marvel up there with the likes of Thor and Hulk, and depending on the setting, if it came down to battle, she'd probably win. Depending. So yeah, but yeah, they've really managed to capture like the style of like just Marvel cosmic universe. It feels really 70s and really 90s with the way how the jet streams are being portrayed. It reminds me a bit of a little bit of Jack Kirby, but very much of like the Ron Lim style of art that he used when he was drawing the Silver Surfer in the 90s. Which actually kind of makes sense. But yeah, I can't wait, man. It's just another side of the Marvel universe that we haven't seen it, and every side that they seem to show to us from this universe, they just seem to bang the nail on the head. So I've got full faith in this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the same as you. I'm really excited because it's a different side to the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a different side. It's a side that we haven't seen yet, and that's what I've loved so far about pretty much all of Phase 3. They've always taken us to a different place, to somewhere that we haven't seen yet. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, as you mentioned, we got to see the quantum realm, and in Infinity War, we hopped around different planets. In Black Panther, we got to see Wakanda for the first time. And now we're really kind of going into cosmic realms here, even more so than Guardians of the Galaxy has done in some ways, and that's what I'm really, really keen on as well. The movie, I actually didn't know who was directing this movie, so I looked it up, and it's an interesting choice. Marvel seemed to be like picking these really left field directors for their movies, which is kind of making a lot of sense when you consider how much success they've had in doing that as well. But the directors of this are Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. If their names you don't recognize, listeners, that's understandable, because they're pretty much like hardcore indie filmmakers. One of the films that they've done, which is one of my favorite movies, is a film called Half Nelson, which starred Ryan Gosling. You know the film, right, Rich? Where he's like he's a teacher in a city school, and he's a crack addict as well. And he ends up having a mentor relationship with a young girl in his class. They're really interesting filmmakers because they're quite out there with the way that they approach kind of character and story. And they like to kind of tell their stories in a non kind of linear way. And it seems like straight away from the Captain Marvel story, again, this could be entirely just down to how the trailer's cut, but it feels like the story's going to be jumping backwards and forwards in time. And that's a storytelling device that I do like when it's done right. So when it's done well, it gives you a full grounding, especially when you're dealing with, a story that's quite epic in scope, or a character who has a dense history, and you're trying to kind of show how the past is directly correlating to events that are currently happening in the present in your story. And that's one of the things that leaps out to me from this trailer straight away, is said, is how they're kind of playing around with timescales, which is something that, as I said, can work very well when it's done right. And I do have some faith that this is something that they can pull off here with what they're doing. But yeah, same as you, I love the whole kind of cosmic setting and things like that. That looks brilliant. One of the things we did get to see in the trailer was our first look at Annette Bening, who I didn't even know was in this film. I honestly didn't know until I saw the trailer, and I was like, wait, is that Annette Bening? I was like, yeah, it is. So I had no idea that she was in this movie. And I guess the question I was going to ask you is, do you think she's playing the Supreme Intelligence in this? Because I just kind of, it looked from the few glimpses we got of her, it looked like she's a Kree. And, from the way she's kind of talking to Captain Marvel in the trailer, I don't know. I just got that kind of vibe. But do you think that's who she is? And we should probably explain who the Supreme Intelligence is as well at the same time. But yeah, do you think there's any chance that that's possibly who she's playing?
She could be. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, she might not. She doesn't necessarily look like the version of the Kree Supreme Intelligence that you know comic book readers or me and you, Jay, are used to. But it wouldn't be the first time that the Kree intelligence has been put into a body, because usually it's just a big floating head in like a vat of some form of like you know, liquid. The best way to describe it is imagine a slug version of Zordon from Power Rangers. That's the only way I could describe it. But yeah, but basically, do you want to give a breakdown of the Kree Supreme Intelligence, or do you want me to do it?
No, you could do it, man. You probably know more of the history than I do. Again, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, where I've mentioned before that the Kree are a scientific based race or like civilization, and obviously don't use any form of emotions. What's happened is that throughout the years and the millennia that they've basically built themselves up and basically grafted their empire. With each passing of, let's say, whoever was ruling at any particular point, when that person dies, they're basically added to the Supreme Intelligence. And so basically the Supreme Intelligence is basically got a big floating head, or I would say brain, but it's actually head with a face, and it's got these tentacles. And it's actually quite a powerful being. Well, it used to be quite a powerful being. But what it is that it basically makes all the choices and decisions for the Kree Empire. Literally just for the simple fact that it's got every single Kree or one of the Kree, smart minds in its own head. So the best way to describe it is that if any of you guys, in fact, some of you guys listening actually might be too young, but there was a film called Highlander, and it was a TV show that was based off it. And what it was is that when Highlanders used to fight, the loser would lose their heads. And basically what would happen is that the winner would gain every single bit of history and skill and memories from that Highlander. And so they would then be better at doing something else. So for example, if me and Jay were Highlanders and I was to take his head, I would take his, I'd get all of his memories, and I would have his knowledge about film noir or John Woo films. And so basically, the Kree intelligence is basically one of the smartest beings in the universe. And that's one of the reasons why the actual Kree civilization has managed to flourish for so long. So yeah, so that's basically a breakdown of the Kree Supreme Intelligence. And it wouldn't surprise me, now that I'm thinking about it, if Annette Bening would be the person who would play the Kree Supreme Intelligence, because she seems to be the one who actually changes Carol Danvers into half Kree. And the Kree Supreme Intelligence is someone who's known to be always thinking ahead of how to create or how to make the race the perfect race, and how to make them continue being the perfect race. There's already, because I'm thinking of the time frame now. So we already know that in the 1940s, Asgardians have already been to Earth. Tesseracts have already been on Earth. And there's civilizations that have been around much longer than humans. So maybe the Kree Supreme Intelligence is thinking that, well, maybe the next evolution of the Kree race is to crossbreed with another race that has the potential to have, let's say, powers, whether it be to use, magic, or whether it be to, to create super soldiers. So now that I'm just, that's just a bit of a brain fart that I just had while just doing a bit of that description. But yeah.
No, that's fine, man. That's fine. That gives a lot of context. So thank you for that. But yeah, I mean, now you've said all of that, it just convinces me even more that she's now playing the Supreme Intelligence. Yeah, let's wait and see, because we might get proven wrong on that one. Because we've certainly been proven wrong about the next person we're about to talk about, which is, of course, Richard's longtime boyfriend, Jude Law. He is playing a character called Yonrog. At first, we were thinking that he was probably going to play Mar-Vell. In fact, if you went around on a lot of news websites, they were reporting that he was playing Mar-Vell. But I looked this up, and there's actually nowhere where Marvel Studios confirmed that he was playing Mar-Vell. So it seems like one of those things that the internet just took and ran with. Rich, how do you feel about Jude Law not being Marvel? And do you think there will be any reference to Marvel in this movie?
Listen, number one, yeah. I understand what we're saying about how it was almost like a rumor that Jude Law was playing Marvel, but until I see it in writing that he's not playing Marvel, and then he's playing, then up until then he's playing Captain Marvel. So I'm actually upset, bro.
Crying those salty fanboy tears.
What was the question again before I started getting emotional?
Well, no, it was just, do you think we'll get any reference to Marvel in this movie?
Yeah, I reckon this could be a good way around it if they do want to still keep certain fans of the original Captain Marvel happy. Jude Law doesn't necessarily have to play Marvel. Like we've said before, the moniker or the title of Captain Marvel is something that can be passed on from person to person. So it might even be a thing where Carol Danvers, gets this name after she's told the story of like an amazing warrior. Because no matter where you go in comic books, the character of Captain Marvel has always been considered the greatest warrior of the Kree race, whether he or she is fighting for the Kree or fighting against. It's one of the reasons why Carol Danvers is given the title and why she decides to take it on as well. So it might even necessarily be a thing where Jude Law isn't Marvel, but then there will be a reference to the Marvel, and it's a legacy that they feel needs to be continued, which would be, I think, that would be a nice nod to fanboys, and to also give like a pretty decent reason as to why somebody's called Captain Marvel, considering that there's nothing Marvel in the name that that Carol Danvers actually has, if you know what I mean. Like everybody has a name which relates to them. So Iron Man is Iron Man because his suit's made of iron. Captain America is Captain America because he is Captain America. So yeah. So I think if they as long as they treat the legacy of Marvel right, then I'd be happy with that. Obviously, I'm going to be upset that Jude Law's not playing Captain Marvel because I've always wanted to see him in the Marvel universe anyway. And what better way than to see him as like the original character that destroyed or defeated Thanos when Thanos first appeared in the Marvel comics. But hey, you can't have everything. So yeah.
Yeah, you're still gonna get to see his pretty face. Don't worry.
Yeah, true. That pretty face and receding hairline since he's been 21. Him and Bruce Willis. Yeah. Him and Bruce Willis, man. The same hairstyle for the past 50 years, man.
Yeah, that hairline is he's fighting a losing battle there, boy. But yeah, so for those of you that don't know, listeners, Jude Law's character name was kind of kept under wraps until last week or the beginning of this week, I think it was, when there was obviously some of the merchandise started to come out for this movie, and Funko started to release some of their Funko Pops for the movie line, and Jude Law's character was revealed as Yon Rock. Now, Young Rock is somebody who has a long history in with Captain Marvel and within the kind of cosmic universe, and has long been kind of an antagonist, particularly for Captain Marvel, the character that Rich has been referring to. It's likely that he's going to play some type of a villainous role. I don't know if he'll be the main villain of this film. But I would say, just given the character's background, he might be some type of villain. Although they could turn around and do like they did with M'Baku in Black Panther and make him less of a villain and more just an antagonist, quote unquote. Somebody who is because the trajectory of this character's arc is in conflict with Carol Danvers' development within the story, and the two clash that way. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be sort of out and out villain, so to speak. I suspect that that might be something else that hasn't been revealed to us yet. But I think there's every possibility that Yon-Rogg is likely to be some type of an antagonist as opposed to villain throughout the story. One of the things that I really love about Kelly Sue DeConnick's run, which inspired this movie, is she introduced a pet for Carol called well, in the comic book, the cat is called Chewie, and Chewie is a space cat. And we got to see Chewie first on the original poster when the first poster was released, along with the teaser trailer. And we get a good bit look at Chewie in this one now, with Samuel Jackson playing with Chewie at the end of the trailer in quite a cute kind of gag. But they've changed the name. So the cat is no longer called Chewie. The cat is now called Goose, according to the label on the cat's collar that she's wearing. And I was like, man, I like that, because basically, you know, I mean, I get why they changed it. It's obviously because Chewie was obviously named after Chewbacca from Star Wars. But surely Star Wars is MCU canon at this point. I mean, like, Peter Parker referred to Star Wars in Civil War. So yeah, it's not like people don't know that Star Wars exists there. So it just kind of felt like, well, you didn't need to change that. I mean, yeah, I get it. Obviously, Goose is a reference to Top Gun because, you know, she's a pilot and they're pilots in Top Gun. And if the movie's set in 1994, then Top Gun would only be about 3 or 4 years old at that point, I guess.
No, older than that. Because Top Gun came out, what, 80, what?
When was Top Gun? Was it 89 or 90?
No, dude, it's way older than that, man. Tom Cruise was still a young nipper.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, let me just Google that, because I thought Top Gun came out like 87 or something crazy. I'm Googling it now.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm getting
Top
old,
Gun.
listeners. Sorry.
Yeah, 86. 1986.
86?
Yeah.
Bloody hell, I am getting old.
so if you think about it, if let's say if Captain Marvel is set in 1995 and she's of age by the time that we see her, she would have seen Star Wars, but she would have been at an age where the influence of Top Gun clearly would have helped push her into wanting to go into the Air Force as well. So it does make sense. But I do see what you're trying to say about the whole thing of calling a cat Chewie. But time wise, it does make sense as to why she would call the cat like Gooseman or Goose, should I say? Yeah. Especially if that's her best friend, you know. So which I'm sure, which I reckon it might even be. So by the looks of it, so yeah.
Yeah, no, you got a fair point. That's a fair point. I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, I was just like, because I like the name Chewie for a cat. So yeah, I was just looking forward to that. But yeah, no, that does make sense. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like the trailer overall, I forgot to talk about that last 30 seconds of the trailer, man. That looked like it came straight. Now that looks like it came straight out of a page from Kelly Sue DeConnick's run.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Jamie McKelvey was the artist who did the artwork on that, and there's several panels where you see Carol Danvers kind of flying through space, battling spaceships by herself, which is nuts already. And that last sort of 30 seconds, like, definitely shows you that and kind of the full extent of her powers. Well, not even the full extent, but like just kind of what she's capable of doing, and why, you know, I think people like the character so much. What did you think of that final 30 seconds, man? Did that get you jazzed?
Listen, that was just awesome. Like I said, it's because it's something that we haven't seen in the Marvel. I'm going to keep saying the Marvel universe, in the MCU. We haven't seen anything like that. So you have to remember as well, like, we keep on getting hints from Kevin Feige saying that this is basically going to be the character that's going to help turn the tide in the as yet untitled Avengers 4 movie, in which they defeat Thanos. I mean, to be fair, we all know that the Avengers are going to defeat Thanos. It's just a matter of how and when. But this person is the deciding factor. So just showing us what she can do there, and that's not even the full extent of it. I'm gassed. I'm like super gassed, especially after what we know she can do, what she can do in the comic books. and they seem to be staying pretty faithful to what she can do. And just seeing it on film, I suppose this is probably like the equivalent. Seeing her use cosmic powers like that on film is the equivalent to, as much as I hate them, but seeing the first time a transformer transformed in Michael Bay's film. Like, you know that scene. I remember I used to love that scene, Jason. The scene where
the
Optimus Prime
helicopter.
just Oh no, the one thing that to me was the one of Optimus Prime changes in the alleyway.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
It's the most. I think it's the most intricate transformation out of all of the movies because I think they got like true like computer designers, and they basically actually took like an actual truck or Mack truck of whatever it is and said, well, if it was going to transform, where would go where? And so it's actually like a proper algorithm. That's the reason why that transformation looks different as compared to every other transformation in the rest of the movies. Like, they're not as intricate. So just seeing her flying around, just doing that. I mean, I think that the closest I've got to that was maybe, as much as I hate this film as well, the Fantastic Four 2, Rise of the Silver Surfer. You know, when the surfer comes to Earth and he's just flying around, and it's just majestic looking.
Yeah.
The film isn't that great, but he just has this thing where he just stands out. And that's what it feels like when you see like Carol Danvers just doing her thing. She's just doing her Captain Marvel thing, and it's just awesome, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking forward to some big ass space battles with Captain Marvel taking on the Kree and blowing shit up because I'm just easily entertained like that. But it does. It looks spectacular, and I can't wait to kind of see that on an IMAX screen. That's just gonna look nuts.
Oh, 4D for me, mate.
Oh yeah. Shit, I might even break my 3D sabbatical and jump into that one, because that's definitely going to be worth seeing in 3D. So yeah, for sure, I'm with that. One thing we didn't mention before we wrap up as well is Samuel Jackson. We got a lot of Samuel Jackson in this trailer, aka Nick Fury. Is it confirmed in this film that he's losing the eye in this film? I can't remember.
I don't think it has been confirmed, but I have a theory that he'll lose this eye. He'll lose his eye in this film anyway, and this will basically be a throwaway. Well, this will basically be a direct link to the conversation that he has with Captain America in The Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah. Just remind the listeners what that is, because I remember, but they may not.
Basically, in The Winter Soldier, there's a bit, I think, in the elevator where Captain America and Nick Fury are having a conversation about trust and basically giving people the benefit of the doubt. And Nick Fury basically turns around and goes, "The last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye." And I think it only makes sense for Nick Fury to lose the eye in this film, considering that the Skrulls are meant to be, in quotation marks, the villain of the movie, whereas like they're able to shapeshift. But then to me, what would be the kicker for that is that if they do go down the path of the comic books, and it ends up being that even though the Skrulls are the shapeshifters, the true villains are the ones that are actually in front of you, which would be the Kree, which would basically then make sense as the reason why Nick Fury is so paranoid, because looks aren't everything, and basically the person that you think is riding for you by your side is actually the villain. And that's the whole basis and behind the creation of, or the second iteration of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we see in the modern day MCU as well. So I think more than likely he's going to lose an eye in this. And if they don't, I think they need to get it done soon, because Samuel Jackson's no spring chicken.
Yeah, that's right. He's getting on a bit. Although I have to say they did a wicked job once again. You got to take your hat off to the effects people at Marvel Studios, because he does look a lot younger, like in those shots that you see him. So that de-aging effect technology is definitely doing the business. Because I was really impressed with how they've pulled it off in the previous examples with Michael Douglas and with Robert Downey Jr. But this one is brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that on the screen as well, and how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, Brie Larson looks terrific as Captain Marvel. I'm not as familiar with her back catalog of work as you are, Rich. I mean, I remember you telling me about her in The Room and how she was really good in it. I still haven't seen The Room yet. Shame on me, but I need to go and sit down and watch that. But yeah, sorry, Rich, I cut you off. But yeah, you were saying that she was really good.
Oh yeah, no. She's definitely a good actress. She's been around for some time. That's the thing. So yeah, but her work in The Room is just amazing. It's really really good. Once again, I think, would she be the first choice that I would have chosen to play Captain Marvel? I don't think it would have been. I mean, in the ideal world, I actually would have chosen Emily Blunt. Just because I know Emily Blunt is that tough ass woman, especially after seeing her in the film like Edge of Tomorrow. But then, like you said before, like, you know, Marvel or Marvel Studios, they just don't want. I mean, they pick people that they believe are right for the job, and so far, I think they've only ever made one bad choice or one bad decision in a casting, but they believe in you know, just because you look the part doesn't mean you're right for the part, which is something I think that, you know, Warner Brothers and DC have made that mistake in their recent casting in their DC EU. Ben Affleck is amazing looking as Batman, but he doesn't really have, you know, that Bruce Wayne or that Batman thing. That's it. That's my personal opinion. But everyone else that Marvel have chosen, you know, Chris Evans, he is Steve Rogers, he is Captain America. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, and he is Iron Man. So after seeing her catalog of work, I can't see her as Captain Marvel, but they clearly know which direction they're going to be going, and as to the reason why they've chosen her to play it. So my faith is in her hands, and to be honest, I'm not even shaken or stirred about in regards to that.
Yeah, same as you. Absolutely not. I mean, we said they've rarely made any missteps, and Marvel have not let us down to this point. You know, the MCU is going strong. There's, you know, the number of films that I haven't enjoyed that they've put out is tiny compared to, you know, the vast majority of their output, which I've enjoyed on some level, some more than others. But you know, I've pretty much enjoyed everything that's come out, and I see no reason why I won't enjoy this one too. So, you know, it said they have a knack of hiring good talent, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. You know, this is the 21st movie? Yeah, 21st movie now in the MCU. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And as said, nobody's let us down really yet. You know, even though I may have my issues with again, a very small number of the movies that came out. Even those movies on some level, you know, I will grudgingly admit that I enjoyed some aspects of some of those movies. And yeah, said they just keep on picking the right people at the right time to work on these things, and it works. So from what I've seen so far, I'd say, yeah, we're in for a really exciting movie coming out. So I think the release date in the UK is going to be February, probably the same day that Black Panther came out this year. So I'm guessing Valentine's Day in the UK. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that one, listeners. But yeah, let us know what you think as well. I mean, we'll have a listen to the end of the podcast. We'll have a short trailer on there telling you how you can get in touch with us and stuff. So yeah, let us know what you think. If you're looking forward to it, if you're not, why you're not, you know, let us know. We're interested to hear what you think. But yeah, that'll wrap it up really for our trailer discussion. Hope we found that useful, and you maybe found out a few new things about Captain Marvel that you didn't know. Before we go, I should quickly do a couple of quick plugs. So firstly, I'm going to plug the fact that we are now finally on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay us. Yay us.
If you're listening to us on Spotify, please let us know. As I said, you listen to the end of the podcast, and we'll let you know how you can get in touch with us. Yeah, just give us a shout and let us know, man, and we'll definitely give you a shout out on one of the episodes. because we're really keen to, kind of reach new people, and hopefully that's what Spotify will do for us. So yeah, if you're listening to us on Spotify, welcome, and stick with us. Make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify and you follow us. We'll have regular podcasts out for you to enjoy like this. So yeah, stick around, man. Also want to say a quick thank you as well to our usual help coming from Rob Wade from emotionally14.com. We're officially E14 endorsed, which means we are a part of the E14 network. If you head to emotionally14.com, you'll find loads of different podcasts like ours, including lots of Star Wars, lots of pop culture, geek culture chats, and some other crazy stuff too. So head over there to check that out. And also a big thank you as well to the Britpod Scene Collective, which is a network that we're a part of, which is all independent British podcasters. So head to britpodscene.com and you can check that out and find loads of other podcasts there as well. All right, that's going to do it, man. Rich Kid, you got any final thoughts before we go?
I can't wait for this film. I just generally can't. I'm so excited.
Yeah, man. Same here. All right, people, we're out of here. So until next time, take care of yourselves and we'll see you around. Peace out.